Welcome to the I Love Coaching podcast, the show where we help coaches, entrepreneurs, and leaders build businesses that create massive impact. I'm Adam Roach, alongside my incredible co-host,
Jess Weber, and we're here today to bring you the best strategies, mindset shifts, and real-life success stories to help you level up in your coaching journey.
Whether you're launching your coaching business, scaling to 6 or 7 figures, or just looking for inspiration to push through, this podcast is your go-to resource.
We're bringing you expert insights, real talk, and actionable items every single episode. So if you're ready to take your coaching game to the next level,
then let's dive on in. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the I Love Coaching podcast. I am your host, Adam Roach, with co-host
Jess Weber.
Yes, we are back. Jess, we're back. Jess, I tell you what. We just got off a community call, and I think it might have been one of our best community calls. And I love the topic that we uncovered, and I want to share it with everyone right here because I want us to go deep with it. And that is, as it relates to you being a coach, an entrepreneur, someone that is building something, are you doing it from a professional level or an amateur level?
I love that. And you're exactly right. I think that was an amazing call, amazing conversation with our community. And I think it's very timely in the context of us having this conversation about vision and goals and all of that, because so often we meet people who have been successful entrepreneurs or honestly just successful employees who are ready to start a coaching business, but they want to moonlight as coaches.
Yes.
They want to just dabble in the coaching space to see if it's really for them. And when they do that, 99.9% of the time, we see them fail with and leave the coaching world before they've ever actually really been successful or made a significant impact.
Right.
And it's because they weren't thinking like a pro.
That's right. Well, let's go back. Let's define some of these first, because this was fun. Creating definitions of an amateur or a pro, right? And again, you all know my background in the sports space and the tennis space, and my late father, Bill Roach, always saying not bad for an amateur. And basically what he was saying there, and I think we've said this on past podcasts, simply, if you're not getting paid to coach, you're an amateur. That's step number one. If you're not getting paid to coach, you are an amateur coach, simply in definition between professional and amateur, because a professional gets paid, right?
100%.
Yeah. I mean, you can't go to your attorney. You can't go to your doctor, your dentist, your brain coach, better known as your shrink, and get it for free. Right? Even if it's probably your spouse or your parents, you might have to pay for something. Those are professionals. Let's be real.
You can even take it in a service industry base, and you don't go to, your stylist. Adam, I know you don't have a hairstylist, but you don't go get your hair cut without paying for it. You don't go get a barista making a cup of coffee for you without paying for it. So there needs to be a transaction to help move the needle from amateur to pro.
Do you know, last year for Christmas, my mother bought me a men's kit, and inside of that men's kit, the largest product in there, shampoo. And we were all like, Mom, are you serious? It's shampoo. You bought your bald son shampoo. Yeah, she was not thinking professionally there.
No, she was not, but we still love her.
We do love you, Mom. Yeah. So you can't say, and again, we're being direct here. We're being funny, but we're also being true. Of the people that I've had outbound sales calls with this week and inbound of people coming in, I simply ask, are you coaching now? And they say yes. And I get to ask them, just curious, what do you charge for your one-on-one? And they say, I do it for free. My first and only reply to them is, ouch, because you're not a professional. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's step number one in the definition of amateur versus professional. Let's talk about other amateur moves. What are some other amateur moves that our listeners could say, am I a professional or am I an amateur? What else are they doing, amateurs?
Amateurs are 100% always on call and don't have expectations set with their clients. Here is the time that I'm available. Here's the time that we will meet. We are going to stick to this framework and set a standard.
That's good. I want everybody to hear that. Expectations create you being a professional. That is so stinking good, Jess. Yeah. In the coaching space, there are times where you can be fluid. Like if a client has to reschedule or change or something like that, absolutely. You can choose. That's your choice if you want to be fluid or not. Though having clear expectations versus in the real estate world, I used to call them pop-up realtors, right? They were Pop-Tart realtors. They would just pop up and they would go whenever anyone asks. We have coaches in our community that will go above and beyond. Now, I believe that you should give above and beyond service always, though you should not have your time, I don't want to say wasted, but you should not underestimate the value of your time. There we go.
Yes, exactly. Well, that goes back to the transaction situation. So if they are paying for your time, then the time needs to be monetized and valued. And if you are on call 24/7, then the price tag better be 5 or 10 times greater than what you're expecting for an hour or 2 hours or 4 hours of your time.
That's right.
And so a professional knows their dollar per hour value. Say that 5 times fast. Versus an amateur who does not.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the same breath as understanding your dollar productivity per hour, we can go to calendaring, right? Amateurs, when it comes to calendaring, they don't have in their calendar working on their coaching business, right? Or they may have a little bit of working on their coaching business, but it's not the highest priority. Would you agree?
100%. Your time is honestly the most precious commodity that you have as a human. And I feel like most coaches don't value that the way they value the dollars coming in.
So true.
And so that is part of the mindset issue that we see with those moonlighting coaches is they have dollars coming in from another space, whether it's another entrepreneurial business, another employment situation. And because that right now is taking precedence, their calendar doesn't reflect the opportunity of coaching. And so they don't act or behave in the space of being a coach.
Yeah. You show me your calendar and I'll tell you immediately if you are a professional or an amateur. Right? Because again, your calendar will either reflect or not reflect the level of input you are putting into your business versus the output that you want to have. Those are my favorite coaches. When they come in the community and they say, I want to make $500,000. Great. Show me your calendar. And their calendar is filled with everything but making $500,000 action items, right? It's not alignment, right?
But Adam, this call, this event, this thing is a place for me to possibly meet somebody who wants to be my client. So it has to be there.
That's right. Now I will say this, right? I have many moving parts. Though you have to do two things. Number one, you have to have your calendar that is alignment with where you're looking to grow to, and you have to have commitments to that calendar. It's one thing to say, I'm going to do it. It's another thing to actually do it. So my world consists of a lot of moving parts. We all have families, or Jess, you and I have families. We have a business that we're running and building. We have our own coaching clients. I travel the country for tennis tournaments. I have a wife that is on this continent somewhere that I get to be with from time to time. Though we have many moving parts, right? And if you have to start your day at 5 a.m. because you want to be a professional, you better start at 5 a.m., right? Though it better be in your calendar.
Well, what you're saying, or what I'm hearing you say, is that you honestly need to put it first.
Yes.
You need to put the goal, put the action, put the dream, put the activity that is going to move the needle forward first. Because the biggest bottleneck in anything is always you.
Yes.
And so if there's a whole book and a phrase, eat the frog, or, eat the elephant one bite at a time, whatever analogy you want. If you do the hard thing first, do the thing that's most important first, it sets you up for success the rest of the day.
100%.
So calendar's important.
Yeah, counter is important. And let's give them one more status symbol, if you will, or a checkbox of them being an amateur. What's another thing that they could expose in themselves to say, yep, you're right, I'm an amateur?
I would say their bank account.
So good. What does that mean?
And I would say their bank account, not as much on the revenue coming in, but the investments going out. And I
Ooh,
say investments intentionally because yes, we can have expenses left and right, but where are you investing in yourself or investing in your coaching business? To me is a key indicator of whether you're playing as a pro or
so
not.
good. Now, I want to unpack this because this is what we just shared with the coaching community, and I think it was a massive aha. So you are the 5 people that you surround yourself with, right? Those are the who's. You think at that level, you have those types of conversations, you grow into the conversations that you're having. Though this was the big one, because you said again, what events are you going to, right? Where are you investing in yourself? Mm-hmm. Let's go to the other one. It is about who you know, though it's about in the coaching space. If you want to have inbound leads, it's about who knows you. And so, as Jess alluded to in your bank account, where are those dollars going out that is creating exposure for you so that more people know you every single day? And it's less about the vanity of knowing you, and it's more about the value add that you provide to your eyes and ears that are watching you. I'm talking about social media. I'm talking about whether that's the gram, whether that's YouTube, whether that's whatever platform you're using. What are you spending in that space so that others, so your reach, know you more frequently, right? Dan Martell says to us, if you can walk into a room and the room knows more about you than you've ever spoken to anyone in the room, you know you're doing it right.
Exactly. And that doesn't mean, write a tell all memoir with every dirty little secret.
Right.
It just means being intentional with sharing about yourself as a human and sharing the value of what you do with others.
Yes.
On a platform of some kind. And the other thing that we have noticed a lot in our community and, even between Adam and myself is figuring out what that platform is where your audience is.
Yep.
So is it through social media, and then which social media? Is it through a podcast like this one and getting on other podcasts as a guest? Is it being a keynote speaker on stages, or is it something else? So where are you investing your time and your energy as well as your dollars to be in front of the right who's more frequently?
That's right. Okay, now let's go backwards. Okay, so we started there we ended there with bank accounts. Now let's talk about what the professionals do in the bank account space, and we'll work our way backwards all the way to the start of this podcast with how we started talking about amateurs. So what does the professional do in the bank account space?
Well, they look at where they're investing and the ROI on that.
That's right.
So one, they have to be investing, but then two, they can track that investment and they know their numbers.
Exactly. And we do that a lot. And so we invest in coaching. That's both business entrepreneurial coaching. That is social media we invest in, right? And we say that from both the coaching side and the social media component standpoint. We invest many dollars outgoing, and we are able to track the dollars coming back in.
Well, not only that, but we invest in mindset. We invest in our own health.
That's right.
And all of that plays into that as well. So it's one of those things where, you might not be able to sit there and say, okay, well, my health coaching has gotten me this many dollars. But at the same time, if you're authentically sharing about your success path, your journey as a coach, you might actually be able to track that. So my sharing about something I learned from my health coach and something that has changed my life, or the thing that I've done to set a goal and achieve the goal through this relationship with a health coach, can then turn around and be an opportunity to gain a new client for myself, and I can actually track those dollars.
That's right.
So full circle is, if you know where you're investing and you know where you're spending your time and you're doing a good job of articulating that to the who's that need to know you, then you're going to be able to show up like a professional.
Yep, absolutely love that. So that was the money space. Let's go to, what does a professional calendar look like? We briefly talked about it, but let's go really specific. So as Jess said a minute ago, the very first thing that's on your calendar in our approach is social media. Right, the very first thing that we put on the calendar is social media. Now, why is that? Well, we know that outward facing value add content brings in the incoming leads. And what's an incoming lead? A professional knows that an incoming lead is, if we're talking about Instagram, a follow, a like, a comment, or even a view. Because what a professional is going to do, the very first thing is create their content, value add, put it out there, or have it scheduled to go out. And then they're going to engage with that content. I believe that's the very first thing they should do in the day.
I agree. And if that is the platform they've chosen. So if their platform that they've chosen is a different one, like they're focused 100% on podcasting, that should be their priority every morning. If there is keynote development and speaking, it should be focused on that every morning. But the key also is that the rest of the day also aligns with and tracks with that intention. So what calls are you taking? What books are you reading? What events are you attending that align with the skills that you need to grow to behave and operate as a professional in the space that you've chosen?
Mm-hmm. What else from a professional calendar standpoint should we share? What else needs to be on there?
There's space for building relationships as well. So depending on the platform that you've chosen, I would make sure that there is, you could call it lead generation, lead follow-up, relationship building, engagement, whatever you need to call it. But you need to be reaching out and fostering connections as well. Because no man is an island, and your business relies on you making connections with other people.
That's right.
So you can put out all the content you want, you can get all the engagement you want, but if you aren't following up with that and building relationships with people, then that is all for naught.
Yep. So I heard two things there. Number one, inbound sales and outbound sales. That has to happen. That has to happen every single day. And then also follow up. And then I also heard you say there, which you didn't say, but this is how we speak and think, is pipeline. You have to know the pipeline. The pipeline is going to tell you the value. If you're a professional, the pipeline that you are building will tell you the value of your business for tomorrow. Right? It'll tell you the value of your business tomorrow, and you should be tracking that. You should be tracking the incoming, whether it's clients or in our cases, coaches that are coming into your organization, and you have a pipeline that tracks the incoming revenue. Predictability, right? Building predictability. And then you can understand the conversion rates from that pipeline that are coming into your organization. So if you have a coach that's coaching you and you're a coach and they say, well, tell me the health of your company, you can actually go right to the pipeline and say, here's the health of my company. And let's say you've got $100,000 on the pipeline for the next quarter and you have a 75% conversion rate, you know, at least 75% or 75,000 of that 100,000 is going to come into your organization. And now you can tell the health of your company.
Exactly that. So basically I'm hearing we need to know our numbers in terms of dollars and cents, but we also need to know our numbers in terms of time and connections.
Yes, for sure. 100%. Okay. Let's talk about two other areas of being professional. What's another area that they can go back into and say, okay, I am being a professional here?
Skill development. That to me is one of the biggest things that I have been reading a lot about. And because, you know, we've talked a lot about end of 24, business planning, goal setting, goal, you know, achievement, all of this kind of stuff. And yet one underlying theme across all of that is if you want to succeed in achieving your vision and completing your goals, or even setting new standards for yourself, all of that relies on you growing the skills that you are currently lacking.
That's right.
And so a pro, one, does an audit of what they currently can do, can't do, or don't do well. and then they identify 2 or 3 areas that they want to work on in the next year. And all of the time, energy, and money that they are investing goes into building those skills, because those skills will build the business.
That's right. And that's the beauty of you understanding your who's, because when you have space of the need or desire to build a skill set, you go lean into those who's. Right, those are the who's you can go lean into, right? So, for example, we were talking and discussing this today about different areas for marketing, different areas for VAs, different areas for delegation and leverage. And instead of just going out and winging it with another buying of a subscription model, we have so many who's in our organization, whether that we're either with from a coaching standpoint or in our community, that we can go lean right into and say, here's our challenge. What solution can you provide? And then they
100%.
give us all the feedback. Or here's our challenge. What have you done and what solution did you find? Right? It's so cool to do that.
Oh yeah, it is. Like I said earlier, we're relational beings, and if we're not leveraging the connections that we're making, whether it's through the community or through our who's, then you're behaving like that amateur all over again, because people want to help other people. And when you're providing value and being a resource, then when you are a professional enough to raise your hand and say that you need help, people are willing to help.
All right, so this is that. I mean, that was a layup right there, because I want to offer something. So if you go to my Instagram right now, Adam R. Roach, give me a follow and DM me the word pro. I'm going to send you a video, and this is a video that I created. It's called Red, Yellow, and Green Light. And the idea behind it is I will walk you through 3 areas of your business, and we will audit those areas with either a red light, a yellow light, or a green light. And I think the video is maybe 4 or 5 minutes long, though it'll give you a great overview of where you are in your business. So go follow me on Instagram, Adam R. Roach, and give me a DM, and it says pro, and I'll shoot that video over to you. Jess, great layup there. I mean, that was like almost like a slam dunk alley-oop is what that was.
Why, thank you.
Wait a minute, did you ever play basketball?
In grade school. And the only reason I did that was because I was a head taller than everybody else. So they just put me in front of the basket and said, slap the ball down out of other people's hands. It was fun.
You know, it's so funny. This Thanksgiving, I don't remember the family conversation that we were having, but Addison, my son, loves track, right? He loves it because they do track twice a week at the tennis academy. And my daughter hates track, right? She hates getting out there and running. And Dana pipes up and she says, and her brother was there and her mom was there. And she says, I was on the track team. And literally like an old movie where they walk into a saloon and the record player stops, it's like, you know, and everybody turns their head and looks at Dana and is like, you were on the track team? And she's like, yeah, I ran track. And then Chris looks at her brother was like, that was field day. And she was like, oh. It was the best at Thanksgiving. She's like, you didn't run track. You were at field day.
Oh, no. I mean, I was truly on the team as a member. I quit after grade school because by middle school, I was breaking bones too frequently and I was not competitive enough. And between those 2 things, I was like, I would be much happier with my face in a book or a pencil in my hand doing artwork. So
that's hilarious. Yeah, everybody go find my wife Dana Gentry on Instagram and just DM her and ask her if she ran track or what track team was she on. That's hilarious.
Or what was her favorite event inside the track meet, and see what she says.
That's hilarious. Okay, we totally digressed there. So
we did, and yes, it goes back to, honestly, I think you can relate it to Dana's story of understanding when you are being an amateur versus a pro. That's so right. It as silly as that sounds, and thank you, Dana, for being the example, I do believe that it is really important to articulate what you're doing to the people that do know you, like you, trust you, love you, whatever, because I think that they can, knowing you, help you identify whether you're playing as a pro or an amateur as well.
That's right.
You go to a spouse or sibling or something like that and say, hey, I'm a coach. They'll be like, WTF, mate? Are you really? Or yes, you are, and I think you're a badass, you know?
Yep.
And so I think that being relational, in addition to auditing your business and your calendar and your bank account, can help you really make a decision because those people are going to be the most brutally honest with you.
They totally are. Yep, they totally are. All right, Jess, this was good. All of our listeners, we trust that you got great content here from the standpoint of either being a professional or being an amateur. It's your choice, and we gave you the how to get out of being an amateur, and we trust you like that. If you liked it, subscribe to our podcast. If you liked it, download this podcast. If you liked it, go share it and give it to somebody else who needs to become a professional. Jess, thank you for your time today. Great information.
Thank you, as always.
All right. Okay, guys, we'll see you next time. Thanks. Take care. See you. Bye.